The sun had just dipped behind the hills, leaving behind a twilight that seemed to stretch forever. In the small village of Keshpur, there lived a woman named Meera. On the surface, her life seemed perfect, married to a kind and loving man, Rajesh, and mother to two beautiful children. But deep inside, Meera harbored a fear that she couldn't shake off. It wasn't the fear of losing her family, nor was it the fear of death. It was something far deeper, something that lived inside her mind and whispered to her in the silence of the night. Meera had always been a calm and composed person, but over the years, an inexplicable dread had started to creep into her thoughts. It was as if there was something lurking inside her, something that made her question every decision, every action. At times, it would grip her so tightly that she couldn't breathe. And at other times, it would disappear, only to return when she least expected it. Rajesh noticed the change in her, but she kept telling him it was nothing. She didn't want to burden him with her struggles. After all, they had a perfect life, didn't they? One evening, as Meera sat by the window, watching the stars twinkle in the sky, she was reminded of a time from her childhood. It was a memory she had buried deep within her, but it suddenly came flooding back. She remembered an old, abandoned house on the outskirts of the village. As a little girl, she and her friends would dare each other to go close to the house, but none of them ever entered. There were whispers about it being haunted, about a terrible tragedy that had taken place there. One day, she had gone there alone. She had been drawn to the house by an irresistible force, as though something inside her had called out to her. She entered, and the moment she stepped inside, a cold chill enveloped her. She heard voices, whispers that seemed to come from the walls themselves. And then, she saw a tan old mirror, cracked and dusty, standing alone in a corner. She approached it, and for a brief moment, she saw her reflection, but it wasn't her face staring back at her. It was the face of a woman with eyes that seemed to follow her every move, eyes full of sorrow and regret. Meera had run out of the house that day, vowing never to return, but the image of the woman in the mirror haunted her ever since. Was it a vision from her past, or was it a sign of something darker? As time passed, the fear inside Meera grew. She began to hear voices, faint whispers at first, but gradually they became louder. She could feel a presence, something that was always watching her. It followed her everywhere, when she was with her family, when she was alone, even in her dreams. The fear consumed her, and she found herself withdrawing from the people she loved. One night, when the fear became too much to bear, Meera decided to confront it. She returned to the abandoned house. The air was thick with tension, and the house seemed to be alive, groaning under the weight of its own history. As she stepped inside, the whispers started again, louder this time, almost as if they were calling her name. She walked up to the old mirror, the same one from her childhood. This time, there was no hesitation in her steps. She gazed into it, and once again, the woman appeared. But this time, the woman spoke. "You have always known, Meera. The fear you carry, it is not yours, it is mine." The voice echoed through the room, and Meera felt the weight of the woman's sorrow pressing down on her. She understood now. The fear that had plagued her all her life was not her own. It was a legacy, passed down through generations, tied to the tragedy that had once occurred in that house. In a flash, the memories came rushing back. The woman in the mirror was not a ghost, but her great-grandmother, who had lived in the house before her. Her great-grandmother had been accused of witchcraft. The villagers had driven her out, leaving her to die in the cold, forgotten and alone. But before her death, she had cast a curse that would haunt every generation that followed. Meera had been the one to bear this curse, unknowingly carrying the fear of her ancestor for years. The presence she had felt was the lingering energy of her great-grandmother's sorrow, waiting to be acknowledged, to be set free. As Meera faced the mirror, she made a decision. She would no longer run from the fear. She would confront it, face the legacy that had bound her for so long. She whispered a prayer, asking for forgiveness and release from the curse. The house groaned as if in response, and for the first time, Meera felt a sense of peace wash over her. The whispers stopped. The cold chill faded. The fear that had once consumed her no longer held power over her. Meera returned home that night, her heart lighter than it had been in years. She knew that the battle was not just hers to fight, but a fight that had been carried through generations. And with that realization, she finally understood. Sometimes, the greatest fears are the ones we carry inside us, waiting to be confronted. And now, for the first time, she was free. If you liked this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next chapter.